Elite Facts presents
5 of the worst dictators in history. Throughout history, there have been leaders who let the power go to their heads and acted against the interests of the people they governed. Their people are oppressed, poor, and have no control over their lives. The governments control everything, including food production and manufacturing. These leaders aren't relegated to the past, though. Some countries are at the mercy of dictators today. Let's look at 5 of the world's worst.
5.
Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein invaded Iran in 1980 in a campaign for the lucrative oil fields. The invasion didn't come to much and became very much a war of attrition, and the effects the war had in the exportation of Iraqi oil. Saddam Hussein decided to reduce methods of economic development in the country. The war continued for 8 years, with very little progress, and ceasefire was finally agreed on. Iraq was left with massive debt but kept investing in their army regardless. In 1990, Iraq went to Kuwait with the intention of taking the money from Kuwait's oil fields to make up the deficit of their own economy. This invasion caused a trade embargo between Iraq and the rest of the world. America put forces in Saudi Arabia after the United Nations authorized the use of force to stop Iraq's occupation of Kuwait. They called for Saddam Hussein to leave Kuwait, but he refused. On the 16th of January 1991, the Persian Gulf War commenced. It lasted 6 weeks, by which time Saddam Hussein's armies were driven out of Kuwait by the Allied military coalition. The people of Iraq rose up in rebellion, but Saddam Hussein repressed the people and thousands escaped to camps in the north of the country. Thousands of people were arrested and killed during this time.
4.
Robert Mugabe. Indonesia's colonial government banned ZANU in 1964, and Mugabe was put in prison. 12 months after this, Premier Ian Smith created a white-ruled state of Rhodesia and stopped Great Britain's plans for majority rule. This caused condemnation from around the world. Whilst incarcerated, Mugabe studied for a number of degrees from the University of London via correspondence. He also taught other inmates English. In 1974, he was released and was exiled to Zambia and Mozambique. 3 years later, he took control of ZANU's political and military fronts and brought his own Marxist and Maoist ideas. He formed positive relationships with the Western donors, but was given training in arms by Asia and Eastern Europe. Bishop Abel Muzorewa was named Prime Minister of Zimbabwe, Rhodesia, in 1978, but his position wasn't recognized internationally, as ZANU and ZAPU were not included in the election. In 1979, an agreement funded by Britain was put in place for majority rule, whilst going some way to protect the white minority. Mugabe won an election in 1980 and convinced the 200,000 white people to remain, in no small part because they included more than 4,000 farmers. 1982 saw Mugabe invade Matabeleland, up until now held by ZAPU. The campaign lasted 5 years and saw more than 20,000 innocent people die. In 1987, Mugabe convinced ZAPU to merge, making himself ruling president in the process.
3.
Vlad the Impaler. Vlad the Impaler spent his life fighting to regain the seat his father lost on the court of Ottoman Sultan Murad II, the Sultan to whom Vlad and his brother were sent as children, as an assurance that his father supported the Ottoman policies. When Vlad was released, he found that his father and eldest brother had been murdered by Wallachian boyars. He fought the boyars and the brother he had been sent to the Sultan with, who supported Vlad's siblings in the war. In 1448, he enjoyed 2 months as victor, but it would be another 8 years before he tasted success again. This is when the violent behavior for which Vlad is infamous came about. He is named for the horrific way in which he murdered his enemies, impaling them and leaving them to die a slow and agonizing death. It is said that after a battle in 1462, there was a field full of impaled bodies, which Vlad left as a reminder not to challenge him. He was caught later on that year by Hungary's forces and imprisoned. He did manage to regain power in 1476, but died in battle within 12 months. He was hailed as a hero in the area for the way he fought against the Ottoman intrusion.
2.
Vladimir Lenin. The year Lenin's brother was executed, he began studying law at Kazan University. His studies lasted only 1 term though before he was thrown out after demonstrating along with other students. He was sent to the estate of his grandfather where he moved in with his sister, Anna, also exiled by police who were unhappy with her suspicious activities. Lenin took to reading literature of a radical nature, including Marx's Das Kapital. At the beginning of 1989, Lenin decided that he was a Marxist. He completed his law degree in 1892 and moved to Samara, working with Russian peasants who needed representation against what Lenin determined was a class-based legal system. This strengthened his belief in Marxism. He moved to St. Petersburg in the middle of the 1890s and became more involved with revolutionary politics, meeting up with other Marxists and getting involved in Marxist activities. He was imprisoned at the end of 1895, along with a number of other Marxist contacts he had, and sent to Siberia for the following 36 months. He left Siberia for Munich, where he co-founded a newspaper with the intention of creating unity between Marxists in Europe and Russia, before returning to his Marxist activities. In 1903, he took the Congress of the Russian Social Democratic Labor Party to demand the leadership become more streamlined, with the intention of leading other, lower party organizations and those that worked for them. His demands were answered when a war broke out between Russia and Japan in 1904. As the war affected the budget in Russia, the Russian people began to rise up and demand political reform.
1.
Kim Il-sung. This head of state in North Korea had a difficult relationship with South Korea due to the oppressive rules North Koreans live under. North Korean people were stopped from having contact with the West and were highly controlled by Kim Il-sung. His mission was to have economic self-reliance, and he used an aggressive campaign of propaganda to create this impression. In 1972, he was elected president, and he brought focus on the militarization and industrialization of the country. The 1970s saw a decline in the economy of North Korea, however, whilst neighboring South Korea's increased. Aid from Russia was stopped after the Cold War ended. Other countries were becoming concerned about the nuclear program in North Korea, and former American President Jimmy Carter visited Kim Il-sung in 1994 in an attempt to make a deal for them to stop their weapons program if the West supplied aid. When Kim Il-sung died in 1994, he had been due to meet with Kim Young-sam, the leader of South Korea. Jong-il, Kim Il-sung's son, took the helm. He died in 2011 when his own son, Kim Jong-un, took over.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.